The second Bloodgate. I should warn you, Hunter. You may find the trial ahead more difficult than I originally let on. The gods will push you harder, and you might very well fail.
And if I do?
You dust yourself off and you get back in there. Or you train, rethink your approach, and come back later, when you feel ready.
And what if I am hurt? Or worse still, what if something happened to Charlie?
Neither of you will be harmed, dear. That's not what this is about. The Elder Gods want to see what you're made of, but they're not out to get you. Well, except Chthon, but you already knew that.
Then I should make an attempt while I am here.
I'm sure you'll be fine. Just enjoy yourself. You're the only one getting an opportunity like this.
I will do my best.
Oh, and Hunter? I should mention, you'll only be able to make one attempt at the trials per night. Even the old gods grow weary of their children eventually. Good luck. When many of the Elder Gods were corrupted and became what we would call demons, the god Atum, born from Gaia herself, was set free from these monsters. In that sense, the two of you have had a shared purpose. Fight well, Hunter, and he may just honor you with his blessing.
This is a serious predicament for me. Their persistence is irritating.
Atum was unleashed and made quick work of the demons, but in the process, he became something of a monster himself. He even became known as the Demigorg, the God Eater.
If this is a cautionary tale, your time could be something. Welcome assistance. Lilith herself could not best me. What makes you think you will fare any better? Really? Our resolve cannot be broken.
The Elder Gods are aware of Lilith's efforts. These beasts may look like her children, but they're only illusions meant to test your skills.
You were too weak for this fight. I'm afraid I might not make it back from this one.
I think Blade is honestly jealous that we're getting this extra training. We have live targets now.
Your mother abandons you.
Doesn't make an impression on Autumn, I don't know what will. Good work, Hunter. With a tomb's help, you shouldn't have any trouble uncovering the more elusive elements hidden throughout the grounds. Why don't you try out his blessing on that stone over there? Try using your new word of power on that stone over there.
Autumn, show me the way. He sees our path. Something terrible happened here. This area, it feels wrong somehow. I sense an old suffering.
Members of the local coven were persecuted here. And worse.
Witches?
Salem's history with witches may have been distorted over the years, but some things are true. The witches of Salem did their best to thwart Shaw, but he rallied his congregation against them. The catalyst of the infamous Salem witch trials. When the coven called out in distress, it was Lilith and Sarah who came to their aid.
Caretaker and my mother knew their powers could help others, and they did not hesitate.
Of course not, dear. Your mother was a gifted healer, and Sarah was never one to back down from a fight. They also knew the signs of Chthon's influence, and Shaw's sudden rise to power undoubtedly got their attention.
Chthon's corruption had taken root in the New World, just like the colonists themselves.
And while Lilith and Sarah were still preoccupied in Transia, they entrusted one of the moon seals to the Knights of Wondercore. who brought it to the Coven with the hope that its power would reinforce them enough to deal with Shaw.
But that is not what happened.
Unfortunately, no. When the plague came to Salem, the same one that afflicted your father, Shaw used it to further agitate his flock by placing the blame squarely on the Coven.
And the witches?
The mob was vicious, and the rest is history.
But what about the Moon Seal?
After the trials, the Moon Seal vanished along with Shaw. Without drawing any conclusions, I think we can both guess where it went.
If this was his church, then it is possible the seal is still here, or somewhere nearby.
You read my mind. Good hunting, dear.
This must be Shaw's study. Oshter smiles upon me. This ward is not like anything I have seen on the grounds before.
And yet, it's familiar somehow.
Like the wards of protection that Wanda invoked to protect Dr. Strange's sanctum?
Very perceptive, dear. Maybe you should approach the good doctor and see if he has any insights. And Hunter, be circumspect. Dr. Strange is no fool. Never a dull moment.
Tell me about Hiram Shaw.
By all accounts, Hiram Shaw was a desperate man. Desperate for power, wealth, influence, the usual desires that cloud men's minds. As I understand it, he was a largely unsuccessful minister before his arrival at Salem, traveling from place to place, swindling whatever followers he managed to gain before being run out of town. To think that a simple man like Shaw finding a piece of the Darkhold was enough to set all of this in motion, it puts things in perspective.
What do you know about my father?
That's not an easy question, dear. What would you like to know? Was he a good man? Yes, I think he was. Your mother loved him dearly, and he doted over her. I think for a time she forgot who she was, where she came from. And I don't mean that as a bad thing. She and Sarah both deserve to find something more than just another fight with Chthon. Lilith did, Sarah didn't. At least, not for a while longer still. I honestly think that's the only thing she ever had against him, blood or not.
Did Wanda ever make it to this place?
I suspect she did. But if she discovered something, she didn't tell me. Until we speak again.
The son of Gaia approves. Autumn showing the way. That did not work. Autumn thinks otherwise. He sees our path. That is something. Autumn be praised. Must not be her purview. The goddess must be busy. Autumn must not see it that way. If I remember correctly, this is the grave of Will Walker, a notoriously vicious but effective vampire hunter. Blade would have liked him. Agatha, what is this?
The corrupted influence of the elder god Chthon. But we won't be able to heal the Abbey grounds until we've recovered the Moon Seal, stolen by Hiram Shaw.
Remind me about the seal?
I think you've gotten ahead of yourself, dear. You'll need to find the Moon Seal first. A trial awaits you.
Autumn reveals all. Blessings of the goddess. Noble Ashtur guides my hand. Agatha's house. What is this? He sees our path. She does not see it happening. Chthon's dark influence has tainted this well. Autumn reveals all.
I'm very intimidated by Caretaker. She pushed Wanda right out of the Abbey. Again.
Something on your mind?
I have heard that Wanda's power comes from Chthon.
The way I understand it, as a child, Wanda and her family lived in Transia, not far from Mount Wundagore. Within that mountain, the dark god Chthon had long been imprisoned, his corruptive influence an ongoing threat to the people of Transia.
And Wanda was affected?
Whether Chthon reached out to Wanda, or he found her by chance, I can't say. But Wanda was blessed or cursed by Chthon, touched by the power of chaos magic. While he had hoped to make her some sort of acolyte, she proved to be more capable than even he foresaw.
What can you tell me about Chthon?
One of the first Elder Gods, Chthon is said to have existed for tens of millions of years, well before the dawn of humanity on Earth. Believe it or not, he wasn't always the bastion of evil that we know today.
This story sounds familiar.
As the legend goes, the downfall of the old gods was actually brought upon by Chthon's brother Set, who found that by consuming his siblings, he could gain their power. After Set consumed Hypus, Chthon followed suit with the others, and in this way, many of the first gods also became the first demons.
And how did he come to be imprisoned on Earth?
In the same way Hydra has worked to restore Lilith, various cultists of the past sought to revive Chthon to wield his power. When Chthon failed to cooperate, these same cultists did the only thing they could. They locked him away again.
What do you know about Transia?
Transia is your ancestral homeland, Hunter. The birthplace of Lilith and Caretaker. It has always been a sort of magical junction, drawing in every type of occultist, sorcerer, and even the occasional Elder God. The Abbey grounds still behave in much the same way, even after all this time.
And Wundagore?
Wundagore Mountain has always played a prominent role in whatever scheme was underway. Chthon himself is said to have created the Darkhold, deep within the caverns of the mountain.
What was Caretaker like when she was younger?
I'm sure it's difficult to remember now, but Sarah wasn't always the steadfast contrarian. In our younger days, she was much more enthusiastic about dashing off to save the day, not unlike some of our younger allies among the Suns.
That does not sound like the Caretaker we know and love.
Keep in mind, Hunter, Sarah has faced a great deal of loss in her time here. Everyone she ever cared about, in fact. I would say she's earned the right to be disagreeable, at the very least. She is a very strong woman. I'm not sure I would have held up as well given the same circumstances.
Who were the Knights of Wundagore?
Another mysterious group of heroes in a world full of mysterious groups. Of course, I'm no expert on transient history. I do know that the Knights of Wundagore were formed as a response to the growing threat of Chthon's influence near the mountain.
What exactly did they do?
Hydra was hardly the first to dabble in chthonic schemes. Many have tried and failed to awaken the Dark God. Over the centuries, the Knights fought alongside a number of allies who stood against the various crazed worshippers of Chthon.
You were there? At the witch trials?
Not initially, no. If I had been, I like to think I could have stopped them before it was too late. I sensed something was wrong, and when the witches cried out in distress, I came to Salem as quickly as I could.
But Shaw had already committed his crimes against them?
Yes. It was a devastating discovery. And for the longest time, I blamed myself.
But you see now it was not your fault.
I've come to understand that we must accept the past and move on. But that doesn't mean I won't always carry that pain with me.
I know that feeling all too well.
I know. And I wish you didn't, dear. I really do. It's always good to see you.
When you do immature things, you get called immature.
Good girl, Charlie.